everyone, and welcome to another Female FriYay, where you can't be what you can't see. Today, we're flying off to Belgium, and we have the wonderful Dr. Sari Casaer with us this morning. How are you doing, Sari?
I'm fine, thank you. And thank you for pronouncing my name so well.
No, that's a slight joke, people, that we've had about 4 takes that I've not been able to pronounce Sari's name properly. So we're going to start with a really simple question. What is your name? Where do you come from originally? And where are you currently working?
I'm Sari Casaer and I work in Belgium, in Antwerp. Um, Belgium is small, so originally I'm from the other part of Belgium at the coast, but now I'm living in Antwerp and I work at the GZA hospitals, which is about 900 bed peripheral teaching hospital.
Perfect. And what attracted you to regional anesthesia?
It came step by step. Already in my first year of residency, I was in Leuven. I did med school in Leuven, and I started my residency also at the University Hospital in Leuven. And I was at University Orthopedic Hospital, and it was in the time before ultrasound. And I got to do a lot of blocks already in my first year. So to me, it was like it's the normal thing to do. I didn't know better. It was only later that I realized that it's not often used in all the hospitals, and that it's a skill you have to master, and it's often easier just to do general anesthetic. But for me, it starts from the beginning because of the opportunities I got in Leuven, and so it went on. And then I got to other hospitals, and it really is a skill you have to continue using. And then I saw that it's not like that everywhere. But in my last year, it was when ultrasound was like the new thing. I was in the Children's Hospital in Rotterdam. And there was also a consultant trying all kinds of new things with ultrasound. And I was really amazed of his interest. And it was so inspiring seeing him trying new things. So that's why I wanted to be able to do the
Do you
same
know,
thing as he
I
did.
find that absolutely wonderful that usually you start with the GA and then you turn to the light and go into regional anesthesia. It's very rare to hear someone who said, well, I started with regional and then decided to pick up a few GAs.
Yeah, it was like we for a total knee arthroplasty as a first year resident, I got to do stimulator based femoral nerve block with catheter, obturator block, sciatic block with catheter, and then we also did a spinal. It was a bit harsh for the patients because they had to lie like this, and then turn and then sit up. And but I thought that that's the thing you do for knee arthroplasty.
And it
Um, and
reinforces
that
what I
changed.
think. It depends where you end up in your training. If you cross
Yeah,
paths with a department or a person who is very pro RA, you will have a fantastic experience. If you don't, you probably won't get that good at it. That's what I've
yeah,
been finding out.
I think that's definitely true. It depends on where you end up in your residency and the experience you get. Because when I started working in the hospital where I am now, I got definitely some experience with ultrasound, which was still quite new then. And I started together with another colleague that I knew well, but because of what I told, I think, during my interview, they thought I was really good at it, and I was booked on the hand surgery ORs often, which is, yeah, it's a peripheral hospital, so we have a really high turnover. So I started doing it, and it was a bit struggling in the beginning because it went really fast and I had to do a lot of blocks that had to
It can
work
be quick.
immediately. Yeah, but you do it a few times and then you always get better at it.
Then you
And my
boss
colleague,
it.
yeah, and my colleague who started together with me, he also wanted to do it, but he was never booked on the list. And then years go by, and now never does regional anesthesia anymore because
Yeah, sad.
so I was lucky as well.
Bit of right place at right time. So, if you weren't a regional anaesthetist, what do you think you would be doing with your life?
Um, it's not very original, but I would still be a doctor. I think if I could
Okay.
choose among all things, I would still be a doctor. The only thing in medicine that could have been my thing as well is neonatology, I think, because
Oh,
that's that's something that really fascinates me. I also did start with a fellowship in pediatric anesthesia, so that's like my second interest.
it's very
And
similar though. Neonates is very similar to anaesthetics in a lot of ways. I did a year
yeah,
in
and it's
neonates.
like intensive care is a cross match between internal medicine and anesthesia, but for neonatology, it's always the pediatricians. And I really did not want to do residency in pediatrics, so I did anesthesia. But in my opinion, it could have been a cross match between pediatrics and anesthesia as well. I really like
Wow.
neonatology, and I admire a lot the people that are good at it.
So, what's your favourite part of your job?
Um, I really love to work in an OR in general. I love the teamwork of an OR, that everybody has its own role, and if all the parts match into each other and the flow goes well, it really gives me a happy feeling. For regional anesthesia specifically, yeah, it just makes me happy that you can see the awake patient being comfortable, and they are like always a bit amazed that it works so fine, and then the operation starts and they are like, yeah, I'm okay, it's all going well,
It's
and they
all
say, yeah,
good.
of course it's going well. Yeah,
So,
it's all good. And
so as a passionate regional anaesthetist, I am sure you have a favourite block that you can tell us. If not, you're allowed to tell us your favourite dinosaur, but I very much doubt that you don't have a favourite.
I think my favorite block is a axillary block,
Oh, yeah.
because yeah, I think it's like very nice the way you are approaching the all the terminal nerves, and that you can see very well what you do and the immediate results of the targets you are approaching, and that you can play around with it a bit, like adapt to the surgery, or and I think it's an easy block to. I have taught a lot of axillary blocks to residents, and it's very nice to see them evolve, and yeah, I I like it.
Absolutely. Now, sorry, we're going to move on to our block break. I have 1 minute timer where I'm going to ask you some questions completely unrelated to regional anaesthesia. Are you ready? Tell me something that you're really bad at.
um, Sports with balls.
Thoughts with balls. Um,
Yeah.
if you could only eat one food again for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Uh, Chocolate,
That's a good choice. Coffee or tea?
coffee,
Wine or beer?
wine.
City break or beach holiday?
Oh, mountains?
Mountains. We'll have mountains. Who would you pick to be your favourite plus one at a party?
That's a difficult
You don't
question.
have to take your husband.
Yeah, I think I'll take I'll take my husband.
Now we're going to go on and talk a little bit about your career path. How did you you've already talked a little bit about your residency and how that kind of sparked your interest for anaesthesia and regional anaesthesia in particular. How did you actually get to where you are in Antwerp?
I'm so in my last year of residency, I was 6 months in the pediatric hospital in Rotterdam, which is pretty close to Antwerp. And then normally I would have gone when I was finishing my residency, I would have gone to New Zealand, but because of a lot of personal complications, in the end I didn't manage to go to New Zealand. And I started a fellowship in Rotterdam, and I could stay longer there, and I had a really good time there. And my husband is originally from Antwerp, so we lived here, and I went up and down to Rotterdam. And then after a while, there came availability in the hospital where I work now. And my husband always said, if there's one hospital in Antwerp where I would want to work, it's that one. So I say I'm going to have a conversation and put my candidacy in LC. And he said, yeah, but if you have it, what will you do? Because you love working in Rotterdam a lot. And I say, yeah, I know, but I'll see what happens. So I got the position, and I had to make the decision, and I decided to come here, which was, I was also thinking, if I stay too long in Rotterdam, then I can never go back, because then you stay in the small children, and the people in the Netherlands work a bit differently than in Belgium. They always work with anesthetic nurses, and we all do the things ourselves. So I thought if I stay there too long, then it gets harder to come back. So I'll do it now, and I never regretted it.
And the rest
Uh,
is history, as they say.
yeah.
So, what do you think's been your biggest career achievement?
Uh, there's not like one thing that I can think about as a big achievement. It's like every step followed the previous one. When I was a consultant for 10 years already, I did the EDRA exam because I don't know why. It's like I already did regional anesthesia a lot, but I thought maybe if I have the diploma, I get a bit stronger in discussions. And I work in a peripheral hospital. I don't have a lot of time for big science. I try to read a lot and study a lot, but maybe if I have the diploma, it gives me an extra credit. So I didn't tell anybody, and I started studying. Started studying in silence because I thought, what if I fail? It would be really stupid, but I didn't fail. I got it, and then after that, yeah, you get to know a lot of people, and then I got elected to the Bara board, and then you get in touch with a lot of people. And then there was a call for candidacy for the EDRA examiners, and then I thought, oh yeah, maybe I can do that. And then so it's every step comes after the
It's a good
previous
job you
one.
didn't
And
fail then, isn't it? Now that you're a EDRA examiner.
yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of people told me, why are you going to do that? Because you don't want to go away from your hospital, and you're already doing everything. So why do you need the diploma? But in fact, it did open a lot of gates, and it made me meet a lot of interesting people and like-minded people, and I'm really happy I did it.
So, what do you think's been your biggest career struggle?
I think a daily struggle is still convincing my colleagues that it's uh, it's you have to do that. There are patients that where it's really important that you do blocks. Uh, General anesthesia is always easier to do. For regional anesthesia, you have to have the skills and an ultrasound machine and the needles, and it costs money. And I have to negotiate with the hospital to be able to buy everything. And it's like, yeah, it's for some people, it's always easier to just sit on your chair and give extra opioids, and they say, yeah, it works well as well. So it's a daily struggle to keep on convincing everybody that it's
I think
important
that
to do.
struggle is everywhere around the world. How many times I hear just stick in an LMA and give some fentanyl. And
Yeah.
I do deep breathing exercises. Um, okay, moving on now. What's the best career advice or otherwise you think you've ever been given?
um from personal advice, I think one of the most important things that somebody has said to me is several years ago I had a lot of back problems and I went to a physiotherapist, and after a while he said, yeah, I can make you better, but you have to start moving more. And I had small children and not a lot of time, and I say I have to work and it's all difficult, but I did start to move a lot, and before I wasn't really very sporty or something, and then I started moving and moving more, and I'm now more sportive than I've ever been in my life.
But not with
And it was in
balls.
this, not with balls, no, with bicycles, not balls. But then because feeling better in my body, I got like more energy, and I started studying more and reading more, and then it really came in the same periods of time. So it was such a good thing from him to say that to me, because I felt better about myself and I got stronger on different levels as well. So, and then as a professional advice, I think an important thing for me was, like in the beginning when I was a consultant, you have like those colleagues that are really strong and strict in their commands to the nurses and the colleagues, and everybody says like, yeah, that's a strong doctor, and yeah, he's really good one because he's so strict and strong. And then it's not my way of communicating. I'm always the kind one. And then I thought like, oh yeah, he's the good and strong one, or she, because there are female colleagues as well like that. And I'm just the kind one, but I also want to be the good one. And then I talked to a lot of people around me, because in the beginning I thought, oh, I have to change my communication, I have to be stronger. But then a lot of people said to me, no, that's not true. You just stay as you are, and you can be the kind one is can also be the impressive good one. And that was something that went a lot through my mind, that you don't have to be the bully, you just can be kind and strong as well. But it needed some time and years to get more mature on that level, I think. And now I'm totally okay with being kind.
That's actually really good advice, isn't it? To just stay who you are and
Very
not
kind, yeah.
changed because you think the system wants you to. Have you had any strong female mentors in your career?
Um, I have strong female colleagues, but maybe they were not really mentors. It's just good examples beside me, but I think they like evolved a bit together with me. Um, I think for regional anesthesia, my most important mentors were still male, but that's not, I never really thought about that.
To be
I
fair,
also have a lot of examples that also females that were the bad examples. I don't want to be like that, and that's also an example to see how you're
it's
not
not,
wanting to be.
yeah, it's not unusual, is it, to, even as a woman, to your regional anesthesia mentors are men, because certainly in the UK, and I'm not sure what it's like in Belgium, it's predominantly a male speciality. There aren't many ladies around, so it would be quite rare for you to come across a female regional anaesthetic mentor here. Um, do you have any advice for the women coming up behind you who are budding regional anaesthetists?
Apart from the stay kind thing, something I often think about is that it's better to regret something you did than something you didn't try. If something comes on your path and it triggers you and you keep on thinking about it, you should always try it. And if it doesn't work out, you'll see later. But you will more regret something you let pass by without doing anything with it. So
I love it. Just say yes.
yeah.
Just say yes. And sorry, finally, tell us something about you that we don't know, or we may not know.
I really have a very enormously irrational complex on being young. I I was always the youngest at home in my family. In the class at school, I was the youngest. And when somebody tells me, "Ah, yeah, but you're still so young," then it really triggers me and it makes me feel bad. I'm always very happy when it's my birthday and I get older. I thought it would have been gone when turning 40, but that's already a few years ago and it's still not gone.
Do
Maybe
you
when I'm
not
50.
appreciate the fountain of youth? Like, I'd love it if people kept saying, "Oh, you look really young."
No,
No?
it's something negative for me. Like I'm not mature enough or something.
Sorry, you have been absolutely wonderful. Thank you for joining us on Female FriYay. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.